Hello, it's Monday. That's Hilda. I've had a haircut. This isn't sweat. I spray myself with water and then stand in front of a fan to cool down. Yeah, so another update on Hilda. In the middle of the bloody heat wave. Oh man. Oh, I hate the summer so much. Spring, yes. Autumn, yes. Winter, yeah, love it. I love frost. I love snow. This is no. Right, anyway, there's Hilda up on the ramp. Carbs are fitted. I'm not organised, so it's all out there and you can't see it. I've done a bracket on that side for the fuel filter, which is actually here, the Filter King. Yeah, so that's when the paint dries, that will go back in. Eventually that whole engine bay is going to be stripped out and it will get painted and detailed and whatnot properly, but this is just to make it a rolling thing at the moment. So it's just gloss black for now. That can be done another time. What I need to do now is attend to one of my balls ups, like that, like the camera not being in the right place. So what it is, we need to go underneath for this. Oh, I'm in front of the fan. Right, so well, I need to do a quick history lesson. Right, okay. This is not good for my productivity, but this is need to know information. This is the front of Hilda. That's a Hillman Imp, yes? Oh, no, backwards. There we go. Right. You can't see through here, but if you poke round the other side, you will note a radiator. Hilda has a front-mounted radiator. Imps don't normally have this. Normally what Imps have is a, this is a solid panel here, and then there's a vent, a grill down here, and on that side of that is like a little box, and the heater blower fan goes in there, and that's actually the air intake for it there. And it just goes up in there, and then the heater matrix comes after. So when you see a Hillman Imp going down the road and it's got this grill here, that's just for the heater. It's just for the heater fan, nothing else inside. On a normal Hillman Imp, the radiator is in back. That's what Americans say, in back. It's about here somewhere, where there is on Hilda nothing. And it's got a fan kind of here, and the fan is driven by a belt. Like old cars, basically, it's driven by the fan belt. So the more you rev the engine, the faster the fan spins, and it's got like a cowling and it sucks the air off of it. Anyway, so if you get a performance version of an Imp, some people fit front mount radiators. I've put a 1.6 litre engine in the back of Hilda, so I definitely needed a front mounted radiator. Now in Hilda, we have a bit of a mess, but if you ignore the mess at the moment, pipes here, and they go from the front all the way through and into the back. Now these are actually steel pipes, and that's actually exhaust pipe, which I've made all that out of sections and my limited bending skills. And the idea is it passes under the seat. So the heater on Hilda, the heater on an Imp, if you have a normal Hillman Imp, you still have a water-cooled or water-heated matrix at the front, and there's a heater hose that goes through this box section here and up through there and goes into the heater matrix, and then one on the other side. And some people with the front-mounted radiators actually use those as the radiator hoses. They're like 19 mil. I mean, definitely not enough for a 1.6. I'm surprised they're enough for any engine, to be honest, that isn't a motorbike engine. But at the same time, you lose a lot of heat. They shed heat just as the coolant moves around the car in the hoses. In this case, the pipes I've got here are welded to the floor, so they're structural. They're also welded to each other. The reason I've done that is because I want them to heat each other up. Because what I don't want is for one of them to be really hot and the other one to be really cold, and then the thermostat to open and it all to go boom, back into the engine with cold coolant. So they're designed to warm up kind of together-ish. Anyway, that doesn't matter. What people do if they fit a front mounted radiator, if they don't try bodging it by using the heater pipes, they put in pipes along through here, and there's many different ways of doing it. Some people actually cut the floor open all the way through and run pipes through it. I didn't want to do that, again, because of all the IVA rubbish, and I didn't want to get too far into it. I thought, well, if I go cutting the floor out, that's quite significant. So, but some people do a very nice job of it. But some people just lay hoses inside, some people just run copper. This had copper in for a short while. But yeah, some people will run rubber hose inside, and they normally take out the back seat, because it normally goes up and up through the seat base and through the rear bulkhead and into the engine bay to go to whatever engine you have, and you know, even if it's an original Imp engine. But as you'll note, I have a front mounted radiator, and I have a rear seat, and I have pipes, and this is a combination that is not normally seen. So what gives? Well, the pipes go off through there, and they go through the subframe. And there is the back of the subframe. So this is a, well, they call it a cross member. It's not really a subframe. So this is a cross member. The suspension arms bolt to it, they're separate. The gearbox bolts to it, separate again. So basically it's kind of like a curved bit of angle line that goes across the car and is bolted to the shell in various places. And all those places are as they were before. All the wishbone, the trailing arms, sorry, are bolted in as they would be, gearbox, blah, blah, blah. This is, to anyone who knows Hillman Imps, that is just Hillman Imp. Except for this. This is a flange that bolts to the subframe. There are two holes these two pipes pass through, all the way through the subframe, through the shell. The shell is just open, if you like. They are actually bolted to the subframe because that's the structural part. And that is the radiator pipes. They go through the subframe and then they come back, they come up, they come over, and oh no, they get squashed. So yeah, that's my balls up, basically. I mismeasured. I thought the shocks were further that way, and they're not. So what I'm going to do, now the easiest thing to do to begin with is going to be to remove the suspension. Which everyone's laughing because they're like, remove the suspension to get to a coolant pipe. That's funny. No, it is. That's the easiest way to get to it. Yeah, the easiest way to get to it is to take the suspension off, blah, blah, blah. That's why I haven't connected the drive shaft back up. Remove all that, get access, that's my throttle position sensor wire, that's not plugged in. Remove all that so I can get to this. Now that one is in an okay position, that one's fine. Ignore that, that goes behind, and ignore that horrible bit up there. That is the holes that the radiator pipes used to pass through. Yeah, they're all welded from the inside. In fact, you can see somewhere, just about, you can see the rear seatbelt mounts up there. So yes, and a bit of BX door, that red up there, that's BX door. So yeah, I can leave this one in place, but this is not working. That is an absolute sod to take off. That is a real pig. It's not my finest work. The ease of which that is fitted, although in my defence, I kind of had the opinion that once it was in, it wouldn't come back out. So what I've got to do is drain the coolant again, remove this hose, probably cut this pipe further down and see if I can cobble something together just to get me going, basically. We'll see how that goes. The reason I've got to drain the coolant out carefully, and for this I have got a big container, is because some idiot has put waterless coolant in it, which is expensive. Oh no, that's me. I put waterless coolant in it, so it runs on waterless coolant. Many people will be going, oh, it's snake oil. Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's for another day. I'll talk about waterless coolant one day in a proper video, but point is, Hilda runs on it, and for reasons, and I am not really fussed about losing it because it actually uses about 11 litres of the stuff, so quite a lot. So I'm going to drain that out now, but I have made drain holes there. For those pipes that run through the car, I included drain points in them. I've got to seal this up as well, but yeah, they're there so it's easier to drain the cooling system, because without them it's a nightmare. Oh, it's gone dark. Right, you'll have to excuse me if you can't hear me. I've got the fan going and I can't turn it off. I mean, I can physically turn it off, but I just can't deal with it. So let's see if these actually work. Obviously, if you had normal coolant, you could just drain it off and say, well, I'll change it at the same time, but there we go. Simple as that. The other advantage of this is that I can, once it's been in the bottle for a bit, the coolant, I'll leave it in there overnight or something, all the crud can settle to the bottom of it. And when I've done this one, I'll do the other one. Right, so while that's just draining off, I will mini beep. It has actually dawned on me that I haven't undone the bleed in the engine bay that I put in. So there might be a bit of air stopping this one coming out, but I have taken the header tank cap off at the front. I'll go through the cooling system one day, explain how it all works, you know, because that'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? Oh, I can hear noises. I think there's air getting in now. I haven't put LHM in there, I promise. I know it's green, but there we go. There's the majority of it. So I've got the spring out, standard springs on the back of Hilda, because the engine is slightly heavier, so it doesn't hurt. Well, I'm not going to pull the handbrake cable out of there. I'm just going to take the arm off and dangle it. So I actually need to, don't actually need to get it off at the moment. So there we go, they come out, that's good. And then that should, there we go. The angular dangle. That's not doing the handbrake cable any good. Right, I'm going to tie that up somehow. Right, so I've got access, and I've been upstairs and found many parts. All this kind of stuff. Elbows. I'm going to put these in here quickly just to stop them getting lost, I think. Yeah, so I found loads of bits upstairs. The problem I've got with my cutting idea, basically if I cut it, what I could have is I could have this pipe come out and kind of come out straight here and then overlap this one, so it kind of moves on top of this one, because I've got enough space left in the, well actually no, the wishbone is touching. The wishbone's touching here, the trailing arm, sorry. The trailing arm is touching, but I can modify the trailing arm. I can relieve a bit of that and put some strength back in it in other ways to clear that. But really what this wants to do is about here somewhere. It wants to kink and come down, move across, and then go underneath it. So I've got a load of hoses and things there. The problem I've got is on the back of this pipe up here, because I thought I was being clever, there's a plate welded from pipe to pipe to stop them from flexing and stressing this out, which means I can't just chop it where I want it because there's a plate in there. Well, I'm going to take this hose off, and then, because that hose is the problem, because that wants to be about there, that damper, and that's no good. So I'm going to take this hose off, make sure the damper can sit there, and then figure out what to do with that. Right, so that's where the damper needs to sit, and with that not in the way, it can sit there. Any problem I've got is that. Yeah, okay. Hilda update time. Yeah, so I'd mentioned about what I was going to do with the cooling system. That turned into a bit of a nightmare. I had to take all the rear suspension off. I had to take off, which is a faff on this. I had to do, there was loads of stuff I had to do. The coolant pipes were wrong, they didn't fit. Yeah, I had a hellish day. But it's all back together now. It's not finished at the back. It has to go back on the ramp again. where that BX is. It has to go back on. Incidentally, I might be in that at the Festival of the Exceptional. That one. Anyway, yes, I need to get back underneath and sort some bits and bobs out, but this is kind of like playing catch up. So the coolant pipe is now clear of the suspension. The fuel filter is mounted. Carbs are refitted. Obviously did my oil filler cap. Some of the ignition units ignore all this. I don't know why this ended up like that. So that is all in place. Really, there's nothing stopping me now from seeing if it will go. I've had the dashboard apart, a bit of it's down there, but the top bit of it's in there at the moment. It's not fully fitted, but I've now given up on the, I've given up with the hope of having this thing finished for Goodwood, which is now in 7 days. This hasn't run for I'm going to say 2 years. So, yeah, yeah, who knows? Brakes aren't bled in, handbrake's not connected. It's quite a bit to do, but it might go. So that what I'm going to do now is see if the fuel pump runs. So, into cabin. There we go. Oh, so that's the first click. The fuel pump should come on the second click. No, that's annoying. Okay, yep, no, that'll be that. There's an inertia switch up here that's been fitted, you see. Fitted an inertia switch, because before it just used to run continuously on the ignition, which was, well, if you had a crash and the fuel pump kept going and you got knocked out, there we go. It's actually a Saxo inertia switch, just because they were cheap. Try again. Yeah, I can hear it. So the fuel pump's running up here. That's under there. So really, the few Okay, yeah, so I've run out of petrol. Some time has passed. They tend to go better with this. I'd love to joke and tell you that I've got 10 quid's worth here, but I actually have. But that's good, because the Imp is cheap to fill up because the tank is not very big, as you can see. I did actually drain some petrol out of this, thinking about it, and nick some for the TVR. I don't know why I've left the camera running, because I can't get up to stop it. You just have to watch. Or I'll edit it out or something. Right. There we go. I can hear the pump slow down. Yay! No! Stupid thing. If it starts, then they should stop leaking. That's the plan. Or they'll catch fire. Right. The moment of truth. Come on, Hilda. No! Oh, well, that went really well. Well, in one respect it went well, in another respect it's gone like that. Yeah, I'm not going to run this much longer. Despondent face. That's annoying. And that's losing it. That's lost about £15 worth there. Right, so I think I know what's happened. There are the carbs, are motorbike carbs. They're off a Honda Fireblade CBR 900RR, I think. 4 individual carburetors, all stacked in a row. This is the fuel line in. This is all temporary, these cable ties and stuff. Ignore all that, but it goes into this T-piece here, and then it goes off that way and that way. And they go up into 2 little plastic T-pieces. So it's like the pipe comes off, goes up, then splits and goes 2 ways. And there's an O-ring either side on that plastic T-piece, and it's rubber. And you can bet your bottom dollar what's happened to it, can't you? It's obviously perished. But to find out, got to take the carburetors off again. Yay, that was fun. They've all got to come off and then be split on the bench into individual ones so you can replace the O-rings. The O-rings themselves, genuine. One guy on eBay is selling them, and I don't know, he may be a chancer. £65. Yeah. Trying to find some O-rings that can deal with rubber and the different sizes and things as well. Sorry, trying to find some O-rings that can deal with fuel, not rubber. With different sizes and everything, it's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, so I think I'm going to knock it on the head. I've not done a huge amount. I mean, I've done a bit. I've done a lot of work on the dashboard, but this has all got to come off again, and that is an absolute kick in the nads. That really is. I mean, at least it didn't go up in flames, and at least it ran. I suppose that is the one thing. With its entirely new electrics, it ran, but I didn't run it long enough to see what, if anything, was or wasn't working on the dashboard. So I don't know. I can only assume it all is, but when it started and ran fine. So, well, apart from the fuel gushing out all over the floor. I can see me being there over the weekend at this rate.